So, welcome everybody to this session of Nurturing New Narratives, Rewriting Your Inner Story. My name is Dawn Bennett, and I've been in the healing field for about 26 years, and I'll be your main guide today through this session. And I'm joined here with Cynthia. You want to introduce yourself, Cynthia?
Hello. For those of you who did not catch the first session, I have been in bodywork for over 20 years, and I've been chasing personal development and growth for over 30. And I very, very much love working with Dawn and helping pull out the best in people. My heart's motive is that everybody learns to love themselves so deeply that they shine their unique fingerprint on this world. And so I'm here to support Don and possibly interject, but mostly be here to
Yeah,
support all of you.
absolutely. Well, great. So, what we're going to do, first of all, make sure that you have paper and something to write with, because I'm going to have you just write down a few things before we go into the session today. And if you want water, tea, anything that'll make you comfortable and cozy. And what I want to start talking about today is, what is your inner story? What is your inner narrative that you have about yourself? And the reason why we're talking about this today is, you may have heard, like, wherever intention goes, energy flows, or whatever you focus on is where the energy goes. Whatever you think about is what comes into fruition. So let me give you an example of how we can switch thinking from something that's quote unquote more negative to something quote unquote more positive. So let's say I want to make more money, right? So let's say making money is this direction. And my fear of debt, or the debt I have, or the worry that I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage, or whatever it is this way. Okay. So if I'm looking toward the goal I want, the money I'm hoping to get, how I want to get there, then I'm starting to think forward. Okay. And my brain is solving problems. Okay. I want to make an extra $5,000. How am I going to do that? Can I get a raise at work? Maybe I can pick up a side job. Oh, what if I got that tax return? Like, how could I bring $5,000 more into my field? And that will start me going down this direction. Okay. Is that clear? If I'm facing this way, I'm going, oh man, I have to pay off that debt of $5,000. So I really need to get 5,000 more dollars. Oh my gosh, I hope I can get 5,000 more dollars, because that debt is sitting here. And like, if I don't pay off that debt, I'm paying more interest. And like, so maybe I'll work harder to get $5,000, or maybe I can get those tax returns. Oh, but what if they don't show up? And like, right. So both ways, I'm trying to get solutions to more money. But when I'm focused on debt, what do you think my brain's thinking about all day? The debt, right? It's the, how am I going to get $5,000? We call it like running away. I'm like, get me away from this. Versus, hey, this is what I want. And so this is the goal, and this is the function of what we're going to be doing today. Because if I'm thinking creatively and hopefully and positively, and I'm in a place of gratitude of what I have, knowing that, this $5,000 of debt is still back here, but I'm really looking forward towards the future and how I'm going to shift that, how much more calm is my nervous system going to be? How much more creative am I going to be in my approach to getting that extra money? Versus when I'm facing this way and all I'm seeing is the stress. All I'm seeing is the possibility of what will happen if it doesn't go well, or it doesn't go right, or I don't get it in time. Right? So this is what we're focused on. So when we're talking about nurturing new narratives and rewriting our story, it's not just about, and we definitely don't want to do what we call like spiritually bypassing, right? Where we're just like, oh, never mind. I'm never going to think a negative thought. Nope. I'm never, only positive thoughts, only positive thoughts. I can't think of negatively, right? So we don't want to spiritually bypass and pretend like it doesn't exist, because it's still deep down inside of us, right? So we still need to acknowledge, like, hey, I have this thing over here that's bothering me. And we can use tools like the breath work we did last week, like the hypnosis meditation kind of work we're going to do today, like the anchoring we're going to do in the future sessions, like the work we're going to do together at the retreat, or whatever else your tools are for acknowledging, feeling, moving through the emotion and the fear and the worry to get to the other side. So when we're able to move through and we're able to acknowledge it and say, okay, it's there, and look at all this possibility over here, we move towards it with much more ease and grace and joy, and we can find more happiness because now we're in our center. And the worry might come up like, oh, there's that debt. Okay, yeah, it's there. Yes, the debt's there. And, I wonder how I can make a little extra money. Right. And so, like, now we're coming, when our brain and our body are calmer, we can come to it with so much more creativity, so much more possibility, so much more openness. Cynthia, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
Thank you. That was a um, really rich description, and I love the visual. One of the ways I've learned as well is if you think of that energy as water in a hose, and when you're just flowing and you're like, yeah, everything comes to me in its due season. I know what to do. Opportunities are all bound. You're just in flow. And as soon as you start getting into fear, it's like you kink the hose.
Mm.
And so it's still there. That energy is still there, ready to flow. And there's maybe a trickle down here of what you was already on its way before you kinked it. So focusing on like, oh, it's not flowing? I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna let go and untangle that cord and let it flow, unkink the hose. So I really like that description too. So just some variations in how we think about flow and getting our mind attuned, which
Mhm.
where you're going next, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yes,
And
you're
welcome,
welcome.
Catherine. I wanted to
Yeah.
welcome Catherine real quick.
Yeah. I saw her pop in. Yes, you're very welcome. All right. So grab some paper if you have some. Whoops, what did I do? I removed the spotlight on myself.
There we go.
All right, there we go. Okay. So, what we're going to do next is I want you to grab a piece of paper, something to write with, and I want you to think about what are some of the negative or limiting beliefs? What are the words that you say to yourself on a regular basis? And now these can be words that you say in your brain or that you say out loud. Let me give you some examples. Like, if I only knew more about this subject, I would be more successful or I could charge more. You know, the world never gives me a break. Like those people are so lucky over there, but I never get a break. Or, well, I don't really deserve it. Have you ever caught yourself like, well, I've tried things before and I'm kind of a failure, or no one likes me, or I'm not capable, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy. Or, well, I try, but I always mess things up. The one I catch myself doing quite often that I didn't even realize was a negative thing was, this is good. Like I was cooking dinner the other night, right? And I was like, oh, this is good, but I forgot the back burner had been on before. We have a flat top glass stove, which I absolutely hate because I'm used to gas. So I moved steaks that I cooked back there to rest while I finished cooking the rest of the meal, but the glass was still hot. So everything got overcooked, right? So I bought these nice steaks and they were like, well done, which to me is like, ah. So I was like, oh man, this is so good. But the steaks, like, oh, if I just remembered to move them there, then this would be so much better. And I just blah, blah, blah. And I hate it when I buy steaks and, like, why even bother buying steaks if they're just going to be well done anyway. Right. And so, like, I went in this little, like, thing and my boyfriend was like, the food's really good, hon. Like, this is good. It's really good. And I was like, yeah, I know. But, and then I was like, oh, listen to me. Right. That's another version of I always mess up. I could have done it better. I didn't do it right. right? So they can come in kind of sneaky in these sneaky little ways. Oh man, like I had this whole list of stuff to do today and I only got 2 things done. But I bet if you wrote down and added all the things on your list that you got done, you probably got a lot done, right? Or maybe you got one thing done that took like 5 hours because it was a huge chunk. Like cleaning my house was a chunk instead of cleaning the bathroom and cleaning the living room and cleaning the, you know what I mean? Picking up the kids' clothes and doing all the laundry. So all of a sudden we've done a lot and we don't give ourselves credit. And then we go, oh, I only got 2 things done. So do you see how the negative self-talk can really kind of sneak into our stories? And then as soon as that negative self-talk sneaks in, do you think we feel really great about ourselves? Like write down a couple of the things, a couple of the examples that you have for yourself. And I want you to just notice, look at that. When you look at those messages that you're telling yourself, nobody likes me, this is too hard, I can't do it, I don't fit in. You look at those, whatever it is that's there for you that you write down. How do you feel? Like notice, how's your body? Where's your breath? Do you feel really good about yourself right now? Do you feel really excited to go make that extra 5 grand? No. So when you notice that, then what you can do is you can ask yourself the question, okay, so now that I know that speaking to myself this way or telling myself this story makes me feel like this, what if that story didn't exist? So look at whatever you wrote down about yourself, and I want you to write down the opposite or write down something that's counter to what you wrote down about yourself. So, for example, if mine is like, I always mess up. No, here's something I did really successfully. I actually made really amazing stroganoff for the very first time, looking at 4 different recipes on the fly when I didn't have all the ingredients. Like, that's pretty dang good, you know? Like, woo, go me. Right? Nobody loves me. I'm not good enough. Well, where am I good enough? Or where are my expectations too high, quote unquote, too high? Like my best friend came to me, or my favorite mentor, or God came to me and gave me an evaluation. How would they say I'm doing? How supportive would they be to me? What would they be telling me? I want you to write that stuff down too. And now imagine if those negative thoughts didn't exist. They didn't exist at all. Like you wiped them out. They weren't even available to you in your brain. How would you feel? How would you behave? How would you sit? How would you breathe? What would you be grateful for? How much easier would your day be? If you're like, oh, whoops, I screwed that up. All right, moving on. Right? Because we all make mistakes, we're humans. And so, what if instead of being like, oh, I screwed that up and now I got to fix it? Now, oh, you're like, well, there's a learning lesson. All right, we're just going to go over here and do this over here now. And that's okay. See the playfulness and the joy that we can create and cultivate for ourselves in that moment. So do it for a moment. So write down like all the positive things that your good friend would say about you or your significant other or maybe your kids, right? Like what a great person you are, a great mom you are, or one of the best things you've done, or ways that they've seen you shine, how you support the world, who you are, how you love other people, how you care for other people. And maybe that's not your strength. Maybe your strength is I'm super adventurous and I climb mountains like crazy. And that's my super strength. Or maybe my super strength is I do amazing spreadsheets And you don't call that a super strength because you're like, spreadsheets are easy. Anybody can do a spreadsheet. No, no, not everybody can do spreadsheets. We can tell you that right here. No spreadsheets, right? So sometimes we also downplay the things that we can do in the places that we are beautiful because it's so easy for us that comes naturally and we forget to look at it. So now I want you to just take a posture. Think about and look at all of the great things about you. And so if those negative thoughts didn't exist, and this is the only way you were allowed to feel about yourself, the only words you're allowed to say about yourself, what's different? Notice, like, and where's that picture? Like, can you make that picture, pull that picture like really close to you and make it bright and vibrant? And like, yes, I'm a great person and I do all of these things. And how do you sit? How do you breathe? Even notice, even exaggerate a little bit. Like, do you sit more up? Does your chest come up? Do you smile? Are you more open? Do you breathe differently? If you were to talk out loud, would your voice be slower or would it be faster? Would it be heavier or would it be lighter? And just notice. How does it feel to be in this position? How does it feel to feel this? Because this is what you get to choose, right? And it is a choice every moment of every day. I know it doesn't seem like a choice because I've been doing this work for a long time. And there are some days where I'm like, oh, I forgot. I forgot that I was being hard on myself. I forgot that I learned somewhere along the line that telling myself, you're running behind and you better get this stuff done or you're not going to get it done. You're going to have to be up till midnight. Somewhere along the line, I learned or decided that that's what was going to motivate me. It's not really, I mean, we learn these things, right? From outside by watching other people, by listening to coaches who are like, just do it. You got to do it. I don't care how long it takes to get done. Just do it. Yes. And what if we can do it in more flow and more fun and more joy? How much easier would that be? Cynthia, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, no, I think you've got us set up for a practice session.
All right.
We're gonna go.
So here we go. So we're going to do a little bit of, it's kind of like hypnosis, kind of like a meditation. So when I say hypnosis is I want you to go into like a meditative trance. And when I say the word trance, it's not like we're going to make you do anything that you can't do. And I'll explain this a lot more in detail when we go to the retreat. And really what it's about is, you know how you zone out, you drive to the store and you don't remember getting there? That's trance. We go into it naturally all the time. So it's a state of relaxation in which we're open to just receive than to just notice. So that's what I'd like for all of us right now. So what I'm going to ask you all to do is feel free to turn off your camera. I'm going to turn off mine. That way you don't have to think about like, oh, am I going to be seeing what's going to happen here? And as you turn off your camera, go ahead and find a really comfortable place to be. So you can be sitting, you can be laying down, just anywhere in which you feel really comfortable. Good. And just start taking a few breaths, just gentle breaths. You can allow them to get softer and deeper. You can make it as deep as you wish to be and allow yourself to settle in comfortably into the space now. Good. And now just bring your attention to your breath. And as you just notice the rhythm of your inhales and exhales, maybe you want to count them a little bit. So as you breathe in and breathe out, good. And every time you breathe in, breathe out all those negative thoughts, anything that no longer serves you. Good. And breathing in at your own pace, you don't have to follow mine. And every time you breathe out, just allow your body to go a little more deeply relaxed. Good. And just allow yourself to soften into the chair or into the space where you're laying. Feeling the relaxation wash down through your head and your face. Can you allow your eyes to relax and soften in your face? Down your neck, your shoulders, and your arms, taking all the time that you need, knowing that you're doing it exactly right for you in this space and in this time. Good. And as you breathe in again and breathe out, and notice that you allow the relaxation to go deeper and deeper down your legs. Your abdomen is relaxed. Good. And breathing in and out. As you breathe out, allowing those thoughts to just float away. And what if now those negative thoughts were in a helium balloon? Imagine those negative thoughts now, all of those things you say to yourself. Go ahead and put them into a balloon in front of you. Into a helium balloon, however you need to see that happen. Just hear those thoughts enter that balloon. And in fact, if you want, you can even make those thoughts have a little like helium balloon voice sound, So now it's like, oh no, I'm so bad. I'm doing all the bad things. I'm not lovable. Notice how much more light those makes those words. It's hard to be down on yourself if it's in a helium balloon voice, isn't it? Good. So now imagine those voices changing as you put those into the balloon, as you put your negative thoughts, as you put those negative self-talk, as you put those words that no longer serve you into that balloon. Just know that they're turning into that helium voice, the little helium voice that's so funny. Yes, good. And now I want you to tie up the balloon if it's not already tied, and let it go and watch that helium balloon float higher and higher into the air, farther and farther away. And notice how it feels. Doesn't it feel good now to know that those voices that used to be so heavy, so negative inside of you have now gone into the balloon and disappeared? They've turned light. They've turned playful. And those negative thoughts have floated away off into the distance where they will safely transform. Good. And now, I want you to notice now. Bring forward that positive talk. That positive talk that you have. And imagine something fun. Remember a time when you were fun. Maybe you were watching something that made you laugh, that made you joyful, and just feel the joy run through your whole body. Remember that time now. Maybe you were playing, maybe someone told you a joke, maybe someone else was laughing so hard and they were snorting and it kind of made you laugh because it was so cute that they were snorting, or maybe you were the one that was snorting. And it was so fun and it was so playful and it was so light. And notice how deeply relaxed you are now, deeper and deeper relaxed, as that lightness, that playfulness, that giggling. Maybe it's not even your laughter, maybe it's the laughter of a child. Turn your attention into that voice and bring that laughter, that joy closer and closer into your body. And now allow it to start feeding you back the positive words about you. And notice that voice. Is it the powerful voice of yourself? Is it the voice of a trusted mentor? The voice of a coach, your biggest support? The person that you respect the most in the world? Is it God, your angels? Who is it telling you how amazing you are, how happy you get to be, how confident, how deeply you're loved, how you're doing it right, how everything you're doing is learning and it's joyful and it's playful and you are here for a reason. And that reason is just as important as any other reason of being here on this earth. And listen to that voice tell you everything that you wrote down on your piece of paper that's positive, because your unconscious mind knows and it remembers. So allow it to remember not only what you wrote down, allow it to remember and bring forward everything, all the voices that have complimented you, that have supported you, that have lifted you up, that have brought you joy, that have brought you play, that have brought you possibility. Yes. And allow those voices, bring those voices closer and like turn up the volume, take the volume knob and turn it all the way up. So those voices are the perfect volume all the way around you, and see those voices floating around and feel them as they penetrate through your unconscious mind, through your body, so relaxed, so joyful, so free, more and more dominant in your mind. Because who do you think the most powerful, successful, joyful people here in their lives? And you get to hear that too, and let that voice become louder and more dominant. Imagine that voice turning into a bright, vibrant picture right in front of you now, and imagine it getting brighter and brighter, as bright as the sun. Because you are worthy, you are enough, and you are powerful. And right here, right now, in this moment, you're totally safe. And I know you're wondering if you can keep that voice forever, and you can, can't you? Because just like right now, you're feeling yourself in that chair, you're feeling yourself on that floor, you're feeling the clothes in your body. Bring your attention to that and notice that as you feel those clothes, as you feel where you're seated now, that is anchoring those voices deeper inside of you. Like Mother Earth is reaching up and creating gravity and pulling you down to her to create a giant hug. And this is what is happening. You are held. Gravity is holding you. Mother Earth is holding you because you are here, because you're deserving and you are powerful. And these voices are also holding you now. And now remember everything you wrote on that page. Your unconscious knows, and your unconscious mind knows that it's safe for you to release the negative emotions and maintain the positive emotions, doesn't it? Because the more positive you are, the more healthy you are. And the more healthy you get, the more positive you are. The more positive you are, the more healthy you are. The more healthy you are, the more positive you are. And it's a loop. And it's easy for you, isn't it? And it gets to be. And now we're going to count from 1 to 5. And we're going to come back up with each number more vibrant, more happy, more joyful. So number 1, locking all the suggestions into place. Number 2, just remembering, seeing that voice so bright. Number 3, feeling all of the joy and the positivity around you. Number 4, knowing that you get to have this and you get to feed this voice back to yourself. Number 5, fully awake, back in the room. And you can open your eyes and turn on the camera if that feels right for you. Well done, everybody. So now I want you to just sit with that and notice, how is that for you? How is that for you to feel? And allow that to be in your body. So, we have a few more sessions, free sessions like this on Sundays. I've put the links for the next 3 sessions into the chat, as well as the full retreat. So January 18th and 19th, we're doing a retreat, 2 days full of really deep healing processes. You can come in Anoka, Minnesota. You can come via Zoom. We have people both directions. But we're super excited to have anybody that's available. So I know we've hit our time. we can be open for questions for a couple of minutes, comments, concerns, and then we're going to close it and finish with VIP only. So anything I can support anybody with at all. You can put it in the chat, you can say it out loud, whatever works. Okay. Well, thank you for coming. We will have the recordings out for a little bit for people. For those who have signed up for VIP, you will, of course, have access to all the recordings forever and ever, including the recordings from the retreat if you sign up for the retreat. So we'll see you back next Sunday, 9:30 again for another half an hour to talk about anchoring into your body with ease. So thank you. And VIP can stay on, and the rest of you have a super lovely Sunday. All the links are in the chat. I forgot to say that, but they're all in the chat. So feel free to grab those.